And now we come to the, let's say, reporting line that the internal audit has to the governing body. They call it the governing body. Do you think that it was maybe better to recommend, for example, a reporting line as a recommendation to audit committee and board? I mean, call it as this, because governing body might be, the management is there, might be senior management or executive management. So it can be having different, if you want, interpretations.
Yes, yes. And in many countries, there are different boards. So the governing body label usually refers to a board, but with that label or name, we have to understand in many countries, there are different boards. So from that perspective, then my view is that the internal audit function should report to the highest governing body or highest board. And this goes back to this idea that internal audit needs to report to the highest authority within the organization, who can then make sure that corrective action, where action is necessary, will take place, where the message will go to the highest level decision makers, and the people who can then influence the tone within the organization, starting at the top and then moving all the way down. So once internal audit starts reporting to levels, governing bodies or boards, and even administratively to other individuals within the organization, once internal audit starts reporting to lower level governing bodies, then that is going to in some ways restrict the ability that it has to bring the message to those who need to know, to have access to information, to have access to people, to have access to facilities. The work of internal audit in many ways might be compromised. So my view is that it should report to as high a level as possible. So when we define governing body, we will look at the organizational chart and see, okay, based on their structure, what is the highest body? That's the one. And that's my view as relates to how that particular arrangement should be structured.
Okay, and finally, if we want to give recommendations, I mean, for internal audit practitioners, boards, audit committees, to put this in use, I mean, or utilize the new model in different ways.
Yes, yes. So I believe that in many ways, an important step is to engage all of the different stakeholders, all the parties who have some say when it comes to governance, risk management, compliance, and oversight, monitoring, and so on, so that everyone is clear about the roles. And that as we look forward to what each one of these different units does, that they're able to then coordinate, cooperate, and maximize or optimize the use of resources. One of the challenges in many organizations is an overlap in oversight. A lot of different units reviewing the same things. And it becomes disruptive to the organization, and it also increases the cost of oversight and compliance. So to the extent that we can coordinate our work plans, in audit we refer to as an audit plan, that conversation will help a lot. That's one thing. Another thing is to get that input from the regulators. I believe it's very important, especially in heavily regulated industries. We have financial services, we have utilities, and others where this is a very important piece of the equation that we need to also clarify, because we need their support as well, so that as this model, which was recently published, takes hold, that we're able to effectively use it and get the most benefit from it. The third thing that comes to mind is that we should not see this as just a governance model. I have long thought of this as a governance and management model. And the idea behind that is that we look at it as something that within the organization, we use it in the way that we manage and we lead the organization. This is how we run the organization. So from that perspective, we're not only leaving it to the compliance and the auditors to know and use it, but rather employees are made aware of it. Managers, when they are hired, when they're promoted, they are given training and orientation on what this is all about, how it works, and how they are part of this model and how they use it. And then I believe that this also should be something that as best we can should be also incorporated into business schools. I'm looking at business students, whether it's undergraduate or graduate. I believe that this is something that should also be taught, because as they graduate and become part of the workforce, they should also know about this. Now, beyond just business school, I know I just mentioned them, but I believe that it's a matter of management. So from that perspective, you have people who are, for example, the MPA, Masters in Public Administration degree. They are preparing themselves to go into government. And I believe that this is a model that will be very helpful as well as we look at government organizations, institutions, NGOs, non-government organizations, and nonprofits. So I see this beyond governance as a management tool. And I would definitely like to see this being used in universities as well to educate those people moving into the workforce so that as they join the organization, they have an idea of how we collectively can help improve governance and performance within the organization so that this idea of offense and defense, it is not one or the other, but that the two ideas move together. Because value creation is one thing, but it does not undermine value protection. We have to do both. To achieve one, we need to achieve the other.